The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking A Quiet Place Part 2. This movie was so unrealistic.
So get ready, nerds.
I wish I should have learned sign language. Shit!
God,
I know.
Damn it! All right, let's get into it. Welcome, and thank you for joining us on the Salty Nerd Podcast. Today we're talking about the new A Quiet Place Part 2 movie, and I'm joined as always by my fantastic panel of nerds, starting with Matt Vader. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Dude, I'm really drunk right now.
I know, we just got done with our Star Trek
Shocker.
review, and we all drank heavily, except for Jude.
Can you tell?
And Kadish. That side of the table's
You
sober.
want me to take
we
this
all
out?
just you two.
I was going to ask, is this a bit much for A Quiet Place to have my
I
comm
took-
badge still on?
I took
I'm
mine
Star
off.
Trekked up.
Yeah, we're kind of,
okay.
it's okay. No, forget about it. Anyway, Jude, welcome. How you doing? Hello. Don't whisper. We won't be able to hear it. And Matthew Kadish, what's up, dude?
I'm doing well. Excited to talk about this movie.
Cool.
I liked it.
Oh, that's amazing. It's rare that he
Dude,
liked
You
we all
it.
guys,
like
Kadish liked a movie.
Kadish liked the movie.
I think we all liked it.
Yeah, we all did. It was a lot of fun. Okay, so we're going to get into this. This is heavy spoiler. It's still in theaters, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it, and then you can come back and watch us talk about it. But we're going to spoil the shit out of this movie. Full warning. Okay. Jude,
Yes.
you want to take it away? Go ahead.
Sure. Okay. So I just want to say, while Kadish and I were at the movies watching this, he was like, Alex would totally hate watching this with you.
Oh, my God. Did you talk through the entire thing?
I kept like reaching over and being like, I'm very stressed out.
Okay.
When did you guys go watch this? Was it last week? The first
Saturday.
week?
No, it was
So
just
this
this past Saturday.
Okay.
So we all watched this in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
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 Okay, 2021, A Quiet Place 2, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour, 37 minutes. Had a budget of $55 million, and I got my money information yesterday. So as of
Okay.
yesterday, what do you think it has
Opening
brought
weekend
in?
then, right?
Yes.
Okay, so opening weekend box office. What was the budget?
55.
55. I'm going to say it made $200 million.
B?
That hasn't been out long enough to make that much money.
Opening weekend, 200 million? People are back in theaters,
it's not
dude.
Star Wars, bro.
Don't argue it. Just come up with a different.
65.
$138 million.
Nice. Good, good. I'm glad. I hope we get a part 3.
It's the biggest opening weekend of since the COVID-19.
So theaters are
pandemic.
back?
Yeah, I think theaters are back.
So happy.
Me too,
No,
dude.
Because there was only like 12 people in my
Like
theater.
everybody was out at the theaters this weekend, even people on respirators, because we were in the theater and the whole time we heard behind us, like, and afterwards we were both like, was there a dude with a respirator, like breathing through a respirator?
Darth
behind
Vader was
us?
sitting behind
For
you.
sure. Like the whole movie. I thought it was part of the movie at first. And then like it went on the entire movie and I was like, I didn't want to turn around and like make whoever that was feel weird.
Yeah.
But the whole time it was like,
It's like, really? You're going to, like, dude, turn off your oxygen tank.
no.
Jesus Christ. I'm trying to watch
know
a
what?
movie here.
He typically, on a typical movie, he'd probably be under the radar. But
For
with,
sure.
with
It's just that this one is so silent.
yeah,
Yeah.
The sound design in this movie was incredible.
Yeah.
But I have a funny little movie theater experience too, because I think this is my third time going to the theater after everything's kind of opened up.
Yeah.
I went to Godzilla vs. Kong and stuff like that, but this time around we were sitting there and Galaxy Theaters has their like, this is what's coming up in our retro watches this week or whatever,
yeah.
right?
The Jurassic Park.
Yeah, they had Jurassic
So
Park.
good.
And they had
Dude.
Goonies.
Yeah, they had Goonies. They had Jurassic Park come on. It's like coming
And
soon.
Indiana Jones.
And Indiana Jones Last Crusade.
Crusade.
I'm like, I think we might need to do a movie
I
week.
think you're right.
I need to take my kid to go see this
I
movie.
might have to take a PTO day to go watch Last Crusade.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Anyway, so I was watching these trailers for the retro movies for Galaxy Theaters, and the dude directly behind me whispers to his friend, I've never seen Jurassic Park.
Did you flip a table?
I turned around, I looked at him, I'm like, what did you just say? He's like, I've never seen it. And I'm like, do you want to come over later and like watch it?
Was he like, totally?
You're my new best friend.
He started laughing and he's like, I'm sorry, man, I've never seen it. I'm like, it's Jurassic June. I started freaking out. He started laughing. I started laughing. I'm like, man, it feels so good to get back in the theater.
So
Making
what-
friends out in the world.
Hell yeah.
What I want to know is if those retro movies that they're showing at Galaxy
Mhm.
are for the entire summer or if they're just
It's
for
they
a little
go
while.
they go month to month.
Yeah, I think it's all summer.
Because
So-
I really want to go watch Last Crusade and Jurassic Park, but Man, they show those on Wednesdays, I think, right?
Wednesdays and Sundays.
Both days I work.
Oh, really?
Which sucks.
Their first showing, I think, is at 1 p.m.
It's too late.
Hey,
Too
man,
late.
you've been wanting to quit that job for a while now.
Man,
Just go work for Galaxy Theaters.
patrons, please.
All right, let me
Yeah.
give you the synopsis.
Sub to the channel.
SaltyNerdClub.com. All right, go
ready?
ahead, Jude. Take
Okay.
it away.
Flashing back to the Abbott family on the day of the first attack and forward to where we left off after the death of Lee Abbott in the first movie.
It's like the next day, right?
Yeah. We see the family survive day one and follow as they venture out to find other survivors. After discovering a radio signal coming from an island of survivors, the hearing impaired daughter and Uncle Emmett travel to bring them Reagan's cochlear implant to transmit over the radio, while Evelyn and Marcus and the baby stay behind. When Emmett and Reagan get to the boat dock, they discover that the aliens aren't the only danger in the world. The people remaining are just as deadly.
All right, I will say this: that opening sequence, it's like a little mini prequel with John
first 10
Krasinski.
minutes?
So good.
Incredible.
Awesome.
I wanted more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost want a full prequel because
God, that was good.
No.
It was
No,
nice
no, no,
seeing
no.
John Krasinski back.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. He
Yes.
makes
I want there to be like 10 more of these movies,
Yeah.
but I want the
spin-offs.
first 10 minutes of every movie to be more of day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me day two in the next one.
Honestly, I'll tell you the truth, like if you wanted to do some kind of a spin-off or prequel, like have it take place in a different area with different characters.
Or like we got Emmett in this one.
Yeah.
And he said his kids died that day. He and his wife hung in up until like recently.
Yeah.
So she hung in
11
there for like
weeks or
a
something.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it only?
Yeah. 11.
It was 400 something days.
Yeah. I thought it was like a year.
No, but
For-
she died 11 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. 11
Yeah.
weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she hung in there for a year and without their kids. Like they
Mhm.
had to like get over that. And like we got to see the little boy who died in the first movie. Oh God, it was just so good the way that they tied all of this together.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. I did not watch part one until about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, so it's fresh for you.
So it's fresh.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was a little weird seeing the kids age 3 years or whatever
Yeah.
between the movies.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be like the next day. But I don't know, was it 2 years ago? I don't know.
It was a couple of years ago,
I don't know.
I think
But,
it was 2019. It came out, the first one.
I love this movie.
I'm so glad.
I had so much fun with this movie. I took my wife to the movie and she just hated it. Hated everything about it.
Was she scared the whole time?
My wife is a Hallmark movie girl.
Yeah.
You know, that's just not her kind of
She's
thing.
a sweet summer child.
But, yesterday was Monday and Mondays is wife day. So I tried to spend time with my wife because I work swings. She works days. We have different days off, except for Monday. So that's my wife day. So she was not happy with me. I dragged her to this movie. But I don't feel that bad about it because it was a really good movie.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I had a good time with this. And it's just
What was it about it that like really kind of hooked you in?
I like the fact that it was a pure sequel to the first movie. It was like literally the next day.
Yeah,
it just
when-
continued the story.
Whenever they do a movie where it's like part two, like Godfather Part 2, or like something like that, it's almost like it's an extension of the first film as opposed to a sequel, because a sequel is kind of like its own standalone thing with like the same characters or the same like Die Hard 2 compared to Die Hard 1. It's
We're in another city.
Yeah. It's the same but different. But,
Yeah.
but in this, it's basically a continuation. And other movies like John Wick Chapter 2, Chapter 3, like whatever, you get the sense that it's telling a much bigger story than just like the movie itself. And I feel like the way this ended, it kind of left the door open for a part 3
Oh,
where
for
we're
sure.
going to
Yeah.
be seeing more of this.
And I also think it's so cool because like when you watch the first movie and they discover how to hurt the aliens and you're like, yay, they're gonna be okay. And then the sequel starts and they're not okay.
Yeah,
no
no.
one is.
It's not as simple
And
as
there's still a lot more we have to get through in order to even think about being
there are
okay
a lot
after
more
this.
of those aliens.
I'm
out there.
gonna
Yeah.
go and I'm gonna watch part 1 and part 2 together
Are you gonna do back to
as
back?
one
Gonna
movie
binge watch?
because it is literally one movie.
For
Yeah.
sure.
All right.
For sure.
And the way they introduce these things is like in my brain, in my head canon, these things are parasites that were like on this meteor that hit the planet or something. Or multiple meteor or whatever.
Okay.
Because these things aren't like,
They're not intelligent.
they're not aliens that had a ship and come and wanted to like destroy the planet. These things are like weird parasites that were on this rock that crashed into our planet. And there probably a bunch of them did it. And it's just, it's different. It's not like Independence Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, these are like,
It's an accident. It's
weird ass. I don't even know how to explain what these things are.
I think Parasites works really well.
Parasites,
yeah. I like that, but
Yeah.
in my head, it was more like Cowboys versus Aliens, how they sent
Kind
like
of.
the workers out who weren't very smart, and they had to
Okay.
like destroy all of them before they sent the ship back
Hmm.
to get the smart ones down to take over. Like they just sent like the warriors
the
down.
infantry down.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
It's
interesting.
like the whole scene with the baseball game, and all of a sudden you hear the,
Yeah. Dude, I have to.
and you're
now-
like, what the fuck is that?
So, okay.
And there's like this fireball flying through the sky, and you're like, holy shit, this is
Yeah.
the craziest thing ever. It would freak me out.
Jude, before you get going, I just have to say, because that's a perfect segue for me. Like the sound design of this freaking movie, that opening sequence when they're in the baseball game and everything's normal, everybody's happy, and all of a sudden you just hear this background rumble.
Yeah.
And then people start looking up and you see this freaking meteorite coming through the sky. It was just like, it set the tone so well. Everything just went silent. All you hear is people just kind of like looking at each other like, what are we supposed to be doing? Is this kind of dangerous? Should we go home? Yeah, we should probably go home. Let's get out of here.
Because I've never looked at these aliens from the first movie and this one and said, okay, well, these are things that are going to like build a ship and travel across the stars and have an army and want to take over a thing. That's not the kind of aliens these are. These are animals. These are crazy.
Almost like an accident.
Kind of. Yeah. It's like the old question of what if the Earth was populated by a meteorite that hit and mixed with the primordial soup, and you know, and we're like, you know what I'm saying? It's just it's goofy. It's,
So what were you gonna say, Jude? Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've watched the first one, but there was no flashback in the first one, was there? It was all
No, it just
Okay.
it started off with them already surviving.
That's what I thought. I
We-
couldn't remember
we
having
went-
seen like any of this, and I
It's-
was so into it.
it started at like day 30 something, and
Okay.
then we flash forwarded to like
To,
day
like the next year.
400 and something.
Yeah, because she
We-
was.
we got to see the kid die
Hmm
when they were coming home from the
so sad.
drugstore,
Ugh.
and then we went straight up until she was almost ready to give birth.
Yeah.
So
Katie, you haven't said anything in a minute. What are your general thoughts on this? What do you have a opening thing that kind of hooked you? What was your?
I really love the opening scene to this movie. Like I told you, I was like, I could have watched 2 more hours of that.
yeah.
You know, it was a really great way to open it. It was good to see John Krasinski back, just because like, you know, his character from the first movie is just so endearing.
hmm
And then like when you get into the meat of the story, which is, you know, what happens after they leave their farm and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where like the daughter, now that she knows how to kind of disrupt the aliens so that they can be killed, she's on a mission to find a way to broadcast that in order to give people the ability to defend themselves against these creatures. And so it's kind of like they get one of their neighbors, who they called an uncle, but he wasn't really related to them. It was Cillian Murphy. He played
Cillian Murphy.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah.
I just wanted to correct Katie.
I am the destroyer of words, so I'm
I
going to
think,
say it.
I think Salty's wrong.
What? No, it's Cillian
I
Murphy,
think
dude. I love. He's like one of my all-time favorite actors.
Okay.
I've heard
Still
it.
be wrong.
Maybe.
Whatever.
I always thought it was just
Silly
Cillian.
and killing. Depends on what part of the world you're from.
I suppose so.
All right, so the
The
actor,
Sicilian pronunciation.
so the actor from Peaky Blinders.
There you go.
He plays this character named Emmett,
Mhm.
and he's kind of like the new John Krasinski, except like, you know, he starts off as being like very kind of afraid and depressed because he lost his family, lost his kids, and he keeps telling them like, you got to go, you can't stay here. And then eventually he kind of teams up with the little girl to kind of get her to this radio station where she can start broadcasting this thing. And it's kind of a cool journey to like see him develop into a hero,
Yeah.
and to, you know, see how she inspires him.
he ended up kind of being the main character of the show.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I think it was definitely the daughter.
I loved his character arc through this whole thing.
And,
Yeah.
and like,
really good.
if there was one criticism I have about this movie, it is the little boy Marcus,
Oh yeah,
the son, who you know, he's the one who causes like the most issues. In
Yeah,
this
if
movie.
he had just done what he was told,
Right.
a lot of that shit wouldn't have happened.
And,
Yeah.
and he kind of redeems himself a little bit at the end, but like getting to that point, I was just like, oh, this is rough.
That's my biggest criticism. This movie's not perfect to me because my biggest criticism is a lot of the, like you guys said, a lot of the stuff that happens is due to characters just doing dumb shit.
Yeah, I hate that.
And it's kind of frustrating. It's like, how stupid can you be? Granted, he's an adolescent kid. Adolescent kids do stupid things all the time. So it's
and get themselves killed.
and get themselves hurt or killed.
Mhm.
It's not unrealistic. It's just very frustrating to watch because the whole time, like for instance, when he's left behind, his Amy, what's the actress's name? John Krasinski's
Emily
wife.
Blunt.
Emily Blunt, when she leaves to go and get more oxygen and medicine for her son and baby, and she's like, just stay here. You have everything you need. Stay put, stay quiet, and you'll be fine. I'll be back in a couple of hours. And he just decides like,
I'm gonna go and walk about.
I'm going to go on a walk and go check
Yeah.
shit out. And it was just like, you're sitting there the whole time just going, what are you doing?
it was very contrived.
Yeah.
The only reason that they had him do that stupid shit was for them to have a reason to have the creature come into
Yeah. Yeah.
the factory or whatever.
Which again, you can't.
It felt very forced.
Yeah, you can't say it's unrealistic because again, teenagers do dumb things all the time. But at the same time, you're looking at this character and you're going, he's lived in this world most of his life now, or not most of his life, but he's lived in this world for a year and a half. For the last year and a half, he's watched his family die, his baby brother and his dad.
He's got a bum leg.
He's got a
Oh, Jesus.
Oh God, that was so hard to watch.
Oh, can we talk about that for a
First of
second?
all, okay, let's talk about these people traveling with injuries. She gave birth yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And she had a nail in her foot.
Yeah.
They're just like walking barefoot
Yeah.
across the country.
Look, I get that when things happen, you have to do what you have to do to survive. I understand that, but
it
you
made
are
me very uncomfortable to watch.
this movie, like, because I just recently watched my wife give birth and I have a newborn baby kid, there is no realism whatsoever in any of the situation that Emily Blunt finds herself
I
in.
was like thinking in my head, like, she wearing adult diapers for that?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no injury going on down there. She's not having to take care of herself. There's no breastfeeding. There's no feeding of the baby. There's no diapers. You know how many diapers little babies go through? Like 8 a day.
A lot.
The realism factor, you just have to throw it out the window and just
For
go
sure.
along for the ride.
For sure.
God, it was a good movie.
Because aliens that hunt by sound are so realistic.
Oh, shut up.
Like, if that's the one thing you have to get over, like, yes, this is the premise. There are
Listen,
aliens.
I've never been an alien. I have been a woman who's had a child before, and I know what's going on down
Yeah.
there. You're not okay the
I'm
next
literally
day.
experiencing it right now.
They don't even let you leave the hospital until you've pooped after you have a baby.
Is that real?
Yeah,
For
it's
real.
real.
Yeah.
You have to
poop?
pass. You have to pass something along.
That way they know your parts are all okay
So
still.
Yeah.
my wife had her kids before we got married. So yeah, I'm stepdad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the character of Marcus, the little boy, so while they're running away from one of these aliens, he gets caught in a bear trap.
Oh God, it's so
and,
bad.
And luckily it doesn't hit the
His
bone, but
screams.
Oh. Again, with the way that they use the sound design, where like things are super
Crazy.
super quiet until shit hits the fan,
that
and
was
then
blood curdling.
Oh.
Okay, hold on just a second.
Yeah.
Did you see it with the enhanced sound?
I went to the.
Because I went to the cheap show.
Oh, really?
I wasn't going to spend $3 extra for the.
Oh
extra
no, I
sound.
got the VFX or whatever, the big
Oh,
screen.
but
I think we went
e-
to the same one as you.
Even the one I went to was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It was still the effect, and in my brain, I'm going, I wonder what this sounds like with the DFX.
Yeah, it was intense.
Yeah,
It was a pretty. I'm like, to kind of put it into perspective for you guys. Like, there's a lot of jump scares in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
a lot of jump scares.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say I jump at a lot of that shit.
Mhm.
It gets me almost every
Same.
time. I jumped harder and like I don't know, I convulsed basically when I watched that bear trap go around that kid's ankle.
I yelled
I
out
freaking-
loud, "Oh God!"
I lost it.
It hurt me physically when that kid
Yes.
got hit with that trap.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh.
You hear
and
that?
and then he opens his mouth and he screams, and you're like, no.
And
then-
like
Shut up.
it was obvious he could not control
Oh,
that
God,
yeah.
because
no.
he knows. You've lived in this world for over a year. You know you have to be silent.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was an uncontrollable thing that happened
And
in
when-
his body, and the whole family is just like covering his mouth up, trying to get him to stop screaming while there's a bear trap in his leg. Oh God, it was so horrible.
It was so freaking intense, man.
The funny
Crazy
part
intense.
was that
It was so
the other
good.
guy said it.
What
right?
said what?
Wasn't the other character of the
Emmett?
show? Wasn't he the one that made?
Oh
set
yeah,
the
he
trap?
set the whole thing up. Yeah, that was his area. So it's his. It's
And
his,
so he's just sitting there watching them through the scope, knowing, and he knows this family.
Yeah.
They
So,
were basically family to him.
What's the relationship?
just good friends.
I thought they were related.
Good.
No, they
because-
weren't related. They were just neighbors.
Okay.
Yeah, good family friends. I'm assuming that John Krasinski's character and Cillian Murphy's character had grown up together in some way.
It was a small town, so everyone
Yeah.
kind of knew
So
each other.
I grew up in a small town like this, right? And but what I want to know is how far apart this factory or whatever place that they went to, how actually far from their home
They said
was that place?
it took them about a day and a half to get there walking. That's like 25 miles.
It took them a day to get to the island.
Yeah, so it's another 20 something miles. It's about 20
So,
20
I mean-
miles a day on foot is typically what people can walk. But she had a baby, so maybe it was a little bit.
I know,
they were
I know how far
carrying
I
the-
can walk. I mean, I go about 3 miles an hour. I'm not joking.
I'm
I go-
just
I
guesstimating.
do like 20 minutes a mile.
I'm just guesstimating.
When I go to the park and take a walk, and
Yeah.
I'm tracking it on my phone. It's like 16 minutes is what I do for a mile.
Yeah, but
Just-
anyway.
just
Do you think that
walking.
you would go faster if there were aliens hunting you?
But they were going slower. 'Cause they're
Yeah.
being quiet.
they're
Yes,
trying to be
that's
quiet.
true.
That's a good point. Oh,
You
that's
know, so
that's another one of those things. A silly kind of criticism that I have is like this family was like diehard barefoot, right? Like
Yeah.
go barefoot so
I
make
thought
less
the
noise.
same thing. I was like, how
And
come he's wearing shoes?
Cillian Murphy was just like, screw that, dude. I got boots on.
Yeah.
Like this seems like the more logical way to go.
Yeah.
To me, it's just like you might make a little bit more sound, but I think it's worth it in the long run. When you see this family's feet's all jacked up, they're all bleeding.
Well,
Yeah.
well, what's interesting about that is, so like when the girl leaves, she goes out barefoot and her feet are bloody
Yeah.
because they're not walking on sand anymore; they're
Yeah.
walking on rough terrain. But that's how Emmett is able to track her.
Mm.
Like if she wasn't bleeding, he wouldn't have been able to find her.
Can
as
we
quickly.
talk about the train car scene?
sure.
Okay, so the girl kind of like once they get into Cillian Murphy's little fort, they're safe. She's like, I still have this mission. I have to go and finish what my father was going to do. I have to be the hero to save everybody. So she just disappears. She bails and like, I'm going to go do
She
this
leaves a
thing.
note.
She
yeah.
leaves leaves a note.
Well, first of all, they get a radio transmission
Yeah.
that's the song
Mhm.
somewhere beyond the sea, and she interprets that based off of her dad's maps that someone on this island is beyond the sea is sending out a message to tell people to come there, and
Yeah.
so that's why she sets out to go.
Yeah, and she knows that if she follows the train tracks, it'll lead her to the area where she can get to a boat, which then takes her to the island. So she comes across this a train wreck, basically, literally, and she walks into the train car, and she's in there. She finds this freaking this medical kit.
The whole time
Like
I'm
a first aid kit.
Yeah,
don't
Yeah.
get into the train.
yeah, exactly.
Don't get into the train.
What are you doing? Go around it.
There's bad stuff in the train. my wife is all like, literally. This is I look over. She's all got her shirt up
Covering
over
her face.
and I'm all, what are you doing? And she's like, I hate these kind of movies.
It was very
She's all,
intense.
"So what is she going in the train for?
I kept like squeezing Katie's just head going, I'm very nervous.
Yeah.
Bad stuff in the
The
train.
whole time.
Don't go in there.
The whole time when she's trying to reach the medical kit, and I'm just like, stop, just stop. Open the door a little bit more.
There's gonna be a corpse jump out and touch you.
Exactly.
What? It's like,
I don't know
oh.
what this is.
And then all of a sudden there's the creature behind her. It's like, called it.
Yeah, it was very, very intense. I was like squirming in my seat. I'm like, oh, I know something's gonna happen. And I like again, the sound design. I can't talk enough about how awesome the sound design, because this girl is deaf. When we're kind of like watching the movie through her perspective, there is literally no sound.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just dead
Yeah.
air.
And,
Really?
like something is about to murder you.
Yeah, and like all you see is like there's zero sound. You see the girl, the background is kind of out of focus, and then you see this thing like crawl over the freaking steps,
Ugh.
and you're just like,
Absolutely brilliant filmmaking.
oh
Yes.
shit.
Yes.
Which
So-
also like it just puts in the perspective of like this this girl she's handicapped in the way that she doesn't have the defense of hearing anything around her.
Yeah.
And that's why her father like wanted her to have the cochlear
Mhm.
implant so that she can defend herself, and like that she is the hero going on this mission. It just
Yeah.
amplifies like her heroism.
courage.
Yeah,
So-
her courage, her
Yeah.
bravery.
The way this movie sets up the bad dudes as being able to cue in on any sound,
Mhm.
it makes the audience hypersensitive to every little thing that can make any kind of noise.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like when the camera like pans down the trail and there's a fucking twig or a dry leaf or anything
Yeah. You're like,
that
oh,
can like
God,
you're like,
don't step
"Holy
on it."
Jesus Christ, don't step on that dried out snail shell. Don't knock off that cop. Oh my God,
it's very intense.
it's crazy.
It's very intense. Yeah. That was a crazy sequence where she was kind of like navigating that whole train wreck and stuff. And it's not a Deus Ex Machina, but I was so relieved when Cillian Murphy's, what was his name again? Emmett?
Emmett.
When Emmett showed up and shot that thing. Because like you see the girl, she's backed up into a corner and she basically kind of surrenders. She gives up. She's like, I'm
It's like,
done.
There's no
I-
surviving.
Yeah, there's it. I'm over.
I have to admit, when he shot the thing, I knew that was going to happen.
Right.
Of course.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There was no suspense there for me because
Oh, really?
I've just seen too many movies.
How about when she wakes up the next morning
But-
and her implant is gone and she thinks that he stole it and like left her?
I'm not really sure why they slept. Was it late in the day when he found her? Like there was a little bit of a gap there. I'm like, how long has she been sleeping? Why is she sleeping? I didn't get it because when she went into the train wreck by herself, it was still broad daylight.
Mhm.
And when he found her, it was only like a few minutes later. So I was a little confused as to why they were like sleeping in the middle of the day or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe when you have anxiety, you need a nap.
Yeah,
So
I would
sometimes-
die. I would tell you right
For
now,
sure.
if I had to take a nap in this universe, I'd be dead because I snore.
Sometimes you sleep, man.
I'd be like,
I scream in my sleep.
there'd be a monster like hanging over me
Well, but hey, that's why he sleeps
in the tank.
in a boiler.
Yeah, yeah.
For what, 17 minutes at a time?
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so later on, we get the characters. I got kind of like I don't know if you guys have played the game, The Last of Us, the first one, the good one. There's like a lone wolf and cub kind of vibe to this, where like
No, I haven't played
like
it yet.
Emmett kind of takes her under his wing and like, okay, we're gonna go on this mission together. It's father-daughter kind of feel. So it was really cool. I really enjoyed their chemistry together. And especially since she had so much animosity towards him, like right when they first met him,
Yeah.
she's like, "You are not my father." It was
Yeah.
like, "God damn, girl."
She's like, you're nothing like
Yeah,
him.
yeah. And then like he kind of becomes somebody that would be worthy of not taking the place of, but kind of like filling those shoes. It was really cool. It was a really nice little character arc.
I would say this though. So when they make it to the island and they find like this little community of people who are just living there blissfully,
Yeah.
free to make any noise they want. And they go to basically the guy who is, I guess, the leader, or the mayor, or whatever.
Mhm.
Oh, and the reason why they are able to do so is because that they found out that the aliens can't swim.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's one of the evolutions of their understanding of the aliens. But this actor, Damon Hunsu,
Mhm.
Demon Hunsu,
Shimon?
Something.
Something.
I know who you're talking about. He's
Yeah.
very famous. He's in a ton of movies.
Yeah, so he is like the leader of this town, and he has like a little sit down with Emmett, and Emmett tells him about the
high
cochlear
frequency
implant.
stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
and if I was this character, I'd be like, okay, we're going to the radio place now.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
do
I
this.
thought that was weird too.
And
He's like, we'll take care of it in the morning. I mean, they've just been living this easy breezy life.
I mean, instead, he's just like, okay, we'll get to this eventually. And one of the interesting things is that this movie really keeps things going. Like it keeps
Yeah.
throwing obstacles and dangers and stuff in front of its characters, and it's got like 3 different storylines going
Mhm.
on in it. So like it was handled pretty well. And one of the things that happened is that Emmett and the girl, I guess her name is Reagan. They run into a group of like boat people who are like like they're basically like the bad guys,
Yeah.
And
The people that aren't worth saving.
exactly.
Yes.
They're like the survivors who have survived because they've like screwed over anyone that they've come across.
Yeah.
And they're all burned for some reason.
well, they're out in the sun the whole time, so They're just
Okay.
out exposed, living on boats or something like that. But anyway, so at a certain point, we see this boat kind of float off with one of the aliens on it.
Mhm.
And because the aliens can't swim, it can't get off the boat. And you just think, oh, it drifted off somewhere. Well, it turns out this boat drifts to that island. And so one of these creatures is now on that island, and it starts killing a bunch of these like poor people. And, you know, I was like, that would be, you know, even more motivation to get away from, like, let that thing stay in that town and get out there so that you had some defense against it, get to that radio tower. So like there's little things in this movie that kind of bug me, but overall, like, it's not something I can't overlook to
I think
enjoy the
his
movie.
particular character motivation was to get it away from the town and away from his kids and family. Like, these are the people that he's been with.
No, I totally get that.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, he dies because, like, he's worried that they lost the alien. and he
Yeah.
wants to
I mean,
go
I
back
kind
for it.
of I see what you're saying, because if I was Emmett, is that his name? I
Yes.
don't know the character.
Cillian Murphy's character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if I was him and the girl, I would have insisted, like, the
Do this
second
now.
the second I told him we need to go do this now.
Yeah.
I have family on the mainland that is depending on this.
Yeah.
It has to get done not now, not in the morning, not after dinner, not
after s'mores at the bonfire.
Not after playtime. We need to go to the radio building and do this now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
the sooner the better.
Yeah. Again, like, a lot of the things that happen in this movie that are negative are due to people just doing
I
stupid shit.
hadn't even thought about that
Yeah.
until just now.
It's just a lot of people making
that's
really
a weird plot point.
really bad decisions for a long time.
Mhm.
But I have to, like, one of the most intense sequences in this movie for me was kind of like when all three stories kind of converged, and it was at night. It was after the sun went down. Emmett and Regan were at the docks. They were dealing with that situation. And then you had Emily Blunt dealing with her son. And there was a third thing going on, wasn't there?
Yeah,
No, she went to go get the medicine.
well, no, like, so she came back and there was an alien there, and Marcus was trapped in the
Oh,
He didn't have
yeah.
air.
In the
Yeah.
boiler. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
he's sharing the oxygen with the baby. Oh,
yeah. Oh,
and the oxygen was almost gone.
Yeah.
It's like,
When-
I feel like they almost made him like a bad dude because he was stealing air.
I
from
thought
his
that for
brother.
a second too.
It's like, what are they doing? I mean, yeah, it's like, okay, well, this dude's a dumb shit, and he's out there outside of the area where he's safe,
Yeah.
and he just did all these really poor
Really
choices.
Poor choices.
and
Yeah.
it's
It
like,
was-
it was a really, I didn't need that.
how
I-
old are each of the kids supposed to be?
Mid-teens, 13,
12,
14.
13.
Okay, I got like maybe 12 for
I-
him
yeah.
and like 14 for the girl.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think that's probably accurate.
Okay.
Pretty close, yeah. But yeah, just that I kind of thought that for a second too. When he's locked into the boiler shaft or whatever, and he's hidden away from the monster that's kind of like hunting him, and he's in there, and he knows that the oxygen's going to run out pretty soon, and you kind of get a visual with that when he's got the lighter goes out because there's no
Mhm.
more oxygen,
Right.
and he's sitting there with his kid, a little baby brother. Is it a brother or a girl? I can't remember if
It's
it was
a
a
brother.
boy.
I think
Is
it's
it
a
brother?
brother.
And he takes the oxygen mask off of the baby so that he can breathe for a
I'm
couple
like,
seconds.
You
I was like, you
son
little
of a bitch.
shit. Like, I literally was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, you got yourself into this situation. Now you're stealing oxygen from the baby.
I know, right?
Like, what the hell's the matter with you?
Well, he knows his mom's supposed to come back, and I mean, obviously, he's just trying to like
Survive.
both of them survive, because if he dies, then no one's there to take care of the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt like his whole arc was contrived, and it was
He's a very
A
dumb,
bit.
very
It
dumb
was
kid.
simply for a way to get the monster down there.
I remember being a dumb kid
I
though,
didn't
so
Again, it's
yeah.
not unrealistic. It's
You know
just
how many
very.
times I hitchhiked at like 13?
I would have rather we just didn't even worry about what was happening back at the factory, and we got a little more about what was going on with the
Yeah.
girl and
Yeah.
and,
Kind of just like,
Cillian
hey,
Murphy.
this crew is safe. Maybe have Emily Blunt go to the town and get medicine. You can have a little something there
Sure.
and spend some time with that. Maybe she escapes an alien or something like that. I'd be fine with that. But yeah, I think you're right.
I mean,
There's a lot of time spent with people who make really dumb decisions, and that's the only
I was
reason.
like, the kid just got his leg chopped off by a bear trap. How's he climbing up the ladder?
yeah,
That's crazy.
I agree with you.
It's like he's limping a little bit, but man,
That bear trap looked like
that looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was so terrible.
All right. So let's move on to the final bit then. When Reagan is in the radio station.
Mhm.
God, so freaking intense.
Dude,
Yeah.
that scene where she's like climbing through the window.
Oh, and she has to
And
close
over
the
the-
door.
And there's like
Yes.
keys
Oh.
and a coffee
I'm
cup
like,
oh.
and shit everywhere, and you're like,
It's like-
Like
It's
sitting
like-
there wringing your hands in the theater.
Yeah.
Like, oh
Yes.
shit.
It's like,
Yes.
it's like I said earlier, it's the ability to this kind of a movie, this concept with the whole dry leaf and twig.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, don't knock that thing off that desk
Yeah.
or you're dead. You know, it was freaky. It was,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I stepped on a rock yesterday and I
Yeah.
couldn't control the sound that came out of my body. I can't tell you what would happen if I was in a bear
Man,
trap.
I would be so dead in this
Oh
world.
yeah, for
Because
sure.
I'd just be walking down the street on the sand and I go, and it'd be dead. It's like, over.
Well, pretty
It's
much
like-
anyone who snores would be dead. in this
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
world.
I'm dead.
So sorry, pass gas.
Dude, I just feel like we need to make a parody movie of this where you're just walking and you're trying to, and it's just
Like,
you're
you
just-
guys should just record me when I go downstairs. Because, man, it would just be,
we'll get Cage with the special effects to have some monster walking behind you and it's just like looks at you and then you see it and your defense is like
no.
and it just starts smelling you and you're like ah
It's like legs up,
and it
twitching.
just keels over like a fucking spider.
Like a cockroach that got sprayed by poison.
I'd be like, really?
And Vader just shrugs and
Yeah,
walks.
whatever. Yeah,
He's like,
That's good.
take that.
stupid aliens.
Their sense of hearing is enhanced, but so is their sense of smell.
Yeah.
See, we just went like from a serious talk to like farts.
Hey, man, that's what we do here.
Dudes.
Oh, it made me cry laugh. That's funny. Okay. The big final moment where Reagan puts the thing on the microphone and she just like has that like, yeah, she
Yeah.
has it. Don't do it for the poor listeners that are just listening.
Yeah, but that moment where she like reaches up and flips that switch on
Yeah.
the
Pretty cool.
speaker,
Yeah. It was a very triumphant moment.
very very badass moment, and it intercuts with like her brother, because as soon as he sees that, like, you know, she got the
Because
frequency going,
he's got his headphones on, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
and he's just walking towards that thing that's been terrorizing them, and he's got the gun in his hand. And,
Yeah. It was it was a really, really great triumphant moment. I thought it was really well
and then
deserved.
the movie just ends.
And just
So, okay, is there an end credit scene?
I didn't stay. I don't know.
Because I didn't stay because I wasn't gonna subject my wife to anymore. But
I
everybody
hung
else
it-
did.
I hung in there for a minute, and a lot of people were staying, but I didn't think that anything
Marvel
else was gonna
Marvel's got
happen.
us so screwed up.
Yeah.
No, but I think there's an end credit scene here.
Is
Really?
there?
I'm not 100%.
If
but
you stayed and you saw an end credit scene,
Comment below. Let us know.
mhm.
yeah, 'Cause,
Okay. So let's give
I
this.
totally think there's gonna be a 3.
I hope so.
Oh God, I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Well, this thing brought in, you know, the biggest post COVID-19
Yeah.
box office.
Yeah.
I think we're all hooked.
We're in.
I mean,
Also-
it almost tripled its budget in the first weekend.
Also, it comes out in 45 days on Paramount Plus. So basically, there's a 45-day window from when it was released in the theater to when it comes on to streaming. That's like, you know, like what, a month and
I
a few
definitely want to
days.
watch it again.
Yeah, for
Because,
sure.
I
Yeah.
like this movie better than the first one.
I
I
need to
kind of-
rewatch the first one.
Yeah, I need to
Yeah.
rewatch the first one because I didn't watch it as early. Like,
I watched the first one like 2-3 weeks ago.
yeah, it's
like
been
I said,
it's been a year
and
since I've seen the 1st one.
I'm definitely a late comer to this.
Did you guys know that these movies were produced by Michael Bay?
I did know that.
I didn't.
That's
I saw it in the credits
actually
when I was
kind of cool.
waiting to see if there was an end credit scene.
I'm glad he can make an actual good movie.
Well, produce.
Well,
So he just
whatever.
kind of ponied up the cash. Is
Maybe
that
No, like he got the movie made.
good for him?
cool?
Yeah.
Right on.
Do more of that.
Well,
Michael Bay.
he's done a lot of, like, he was the producer of the Amityville horror remakes.
Oh, okay.
He was the
Not
producer
good.
of the Friday the 13th remakes.
Not good.
Hmm.
So far, you're not selling.
Yeah,
it.
you're not impressed with it at all.
I'm just saying that he's produced a lot of like horror movies.
So when he's mixed in with John Krasinski, he can.
Is
put
this
out
a
some good
horror
stuff.
movie or a sci-fi movie?
I kind of would say it's more like a thriller. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
horror.
Because
suspense.
Suspense. Yeah.
It was very
there's
suspenseful.
a lot of jump scares,
Mhm.
but it's not really gory. It's not like bloody.
Yeah.
or
It's
anything.
PG-13.
It's more like I wouldn't put it on anything different than like The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I
on
didn't
TV.
remember what the first one was rated. Was the first one
I don't-
PG-13?
I don't know.
Okay. And then when I saw that this was PG-13, I was like, oh, that's a bummer. I hope I still like
You know,
it.
TV mature.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah. it's
So
really
good.
All right. Let's do favorite moments and give it a rating. Vader, go ahead.
Oh man, I haven't even thought about favorite moments. I mean, just watched it last night. Favorite moments.
What really
I-
sticks out in your head when you think about it?
Well, the first 10 minutes of this movie are incredible.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I love the setup of the movie. I like how it set up both movies.
Oh, the first and the second one?
The first and the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want more of that. You know, it just sucked me in. I wasn't bored at all ever in this entire thing. My least favorite, of course, was just the little story with the son
Just being an idiot.
Just being an idiot, crawling out of the hole,
Yeah.
coming up and looking for his mom. It's like, get back in there.
Just
what are you doing?
Stay put. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
you dumbass.
You have one job. It's to stay safe
It's
and
like,
alive.
it's like I said earlier, it felt very contrived.
Okay.
But I'm not going to let that 5 minutes of the movie really drag the rest of the movie down, because this is a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to go back and rewatch 1 and 2 together
Cool.
as soon as I can when they're both out there together at the same time. But are we grading? You want to
Yeah,
grade?
give it a grade. What do you got?
Solid 4 out of 5. Yeah,
Nice.
I really enjoyed this movie.
Nice.
Um,
Recommend people go watch it?
absolutely, go watch it in the theater.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
The sound alone. Unless you
Oh,
have
it's such a good
like a
experience.
freaking $3,000 sound system in your house, like go to the theater.
go support your theater, man. Go spend
Yeah.
some money. It's okay.
Yeah.
We all did.
I bought an
Do
$8 slushie yesterday just because I
Yeah.
could.
Yeah, this was a fun thing. I
Cool.
enjoyed it.
Jude, how about you? Favorite moment and rating?
I agree with everything Vader said. The first, the flashback was amazing. I wanted more of that. I hope we do get more of that in the next one. My favorite scene, though I love that part of the movie, there's not like one scene that stands out for me, but there is one later, and it's I felt like Emmett got a real hero moment when you see like you get like his story. Like they don't show it, but you get like that he has these little boys, and they both died the first day, and you can see how tormented he is. He's just like drawing pictures of his kids because he doesn't have any.
Yeah.
And he's just so tormented throughout. And then when he realizes that the creature is on the island and there's this little boy standing there amongst these people, and he's a little boy, so he probably doesn't have much memory of what it was like out there and how to survive it. And he just runs up, and the little boy looks a lot like his little boy. And he runs up and he just scoops this kid up and gets him to safety. I felt like that was like a hero moment, or like a closure that he needed to be the hero for a little boy because he couldn't be the hero for his own.
Wow.
And it was just such a beautiful moment, I felt, for him.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
It was.
Right on.
And I'm not sure what this is, if it's like a thriller or a horror movie or what, but
Sci-fi suspense.
Sure, okay. I agree with Vader. 4 out of 5. Like there were moments that I was just like, why is he wearing shoes? And get back in there, dumb kid. But
Yeah.
it was like, stuff like that just kind of amps it up for you, and it's done for a reason, and it worked.
Yeah.
So it all worked for me. Was I mad at that kid? Sure, but have I also done dumb things as a 12-year-old? Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. So I won't fault it.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie. Go see it.
I want the kid to be the hero in part 3.
I'll let Kadish do his thing, and then I'll ask you guys a question. So go ahead, Kadish. What is your favorite moment and rating?
So my favorite moment is with Emmett, where basically the boat people have attached like a collar to him that has like all these cans and stuff that would make noise. And so like he's kind of on his knees. He can't really move because if he does, it's going to attract these creatures. And they're basically walking off with Reagan and her cochlear implant. And he knows that if they take her, their only chance of basically stopping these things is gone. So he turns into an absolute badass for like 2 minutes and takes like the leader of this group hostage as the aliens start attacking. And he basically feeds the leader to these guys and then jumps in the water. And it was such a suspenseful scene, and it pays off something earlier on in the movie where he asked them what the sign language for dive is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he uses that at that moment to tell her to get out of the way because he's going to do this like super dangerous, risky thing. And it was just a great moment.
And he puts her implant in his mouth to protect it.
Yeah.
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 And so basically, I feel like this movie is one of those films where it's a sequel that's better than the original. And I really enjoyed it. I didn't like it as much as you guys did, but I'd give it a solid, 3 stars out of 5. So it was a fun
That's
movie.
fair.
Cool. Yeah, I'm with you guys on this side of the table over there. 4, solid 4. And I think maybe I'm just a little bit nostalgic about going back to the movie theaters again.
And also, we've had so many crappy movies come out in the
Yeah.
last year and this is just such a
It's a notch above.
such a treat.
yeah. It's a notch above the most movies that we watch. So it was really a ton of fun. My favorite moment, the first 10 minutes was so solid.
It
dude.
really was.
With John Krasinski and the whole town and the way it was filmed, and it's just incredible. But I think I have to go back to the sound design because I'm gonna shout it from the rooftops. The sound design in this movie is incredible. Whoever was in charge of doing that, freaking give him a raise. That was amazing. But there was a moment where it was right after Reagan had like lost her implant and she was looking for it, desperately looking for it. She goes outside, she starts weeping because she doesn't have that one thing that she's been coveting. And she just goes down to the ground and there's zero sound, nothing. The theater is just dead quiet. And then as soon as Emmett comes up and touches her on the shoulder, the freaking sound comes back.
So good.
God damn, that was cool, man.
Yeah.
You know
So cool.
What the cool thing about this movie is, it's like the theater wasn't packed when I was in there. There's
No,
like
not at all.
maybe 10 other people. If that theater had been completely full, you would have been able to hear a pin drop.
Yeah. Yeah, you would have heard people crunching on popcorn or
It's like
slurping on their soda. There was
Breathing in their respirators.
It would have been
I wasn't gonna say anything. 'Cause
dead silence in there.
I
man.
wasn't gonna say anything, but there was some douchebag, some old dude, like a row and a half away from me, and he kept yawning, and I was like, "Motherfucker!" But it was like he wasn't even yawning loud, but that's just how quiet the movie is.
Yeah.
Because I could hear him going. I'm like, talking during my movie.
I mean, if
I
there was,
really want to go see a movie.
Oh my
with you and
God.
ruin it for you.
if there was a row of kids in this movie like there was for a movie I watched a few months ago, and they were all sitting there crunching on their food and popcorn and crap and talk, I would have been so angry. I would have been so angry.
Oh, it's
oh,
funny,
man.
dude.
But
But
yeah.
yeah, solid 4 for me. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. And the question on leaving off the podcast with this question, the part 3, what do you want to see? Vader, go ahead.
I have no idea.
No idea. No.
Wherever he wants to take us, man.
Okay.
I'm down. Let's go.
Jude, do you have any ideas what you want to see?
I mean, I loved the here's what happened stuff in the beginning. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing, I mean, I don't know if it's macabre, but I kind of want to see Emmett's kids die.
Oh my God.
Well, because, you know, we got that first day and like
Yeah.
what happened. And then we got the story of what happened, but we didn't get to see it. And like that flashback was so good. Like I want more of that, but maybe from Emmett's perspective.
Okay. Kadish?
I'd like to see kind of like you know, more into the future where the 2 kids are grown up and they're kind of taking the fight to these aliens, and spreading the word about how to fight them back. Because I remember Emmett, when they first, you know, run into him after they kill one of those alien things, he says, "I've never seen one die before." And so in this world, like it's like people don't know how to kill these things, and these are the first people to figure that out. And so I think it'd be cool to see, like, you know, Marcus and Reagan in their 20s, and they're kind of leading the charge against like hunting these things
So
down.
you want to see like a 10-year gap, 10-year jump?
And then we get Quiet Place, the series.
Yeah. Then they're going to Stargate this thing. Is that what's
Paramount
going on?
Plus, Stargate the series. Or
Yeah,
I got you.
Why not?
Why not? I was going to say the same thing as Kadish. I'm surprised that he said that, but I want to kind of see that next leap in the
Because-
story where like we're going full, almost like aliens.
I have a
you know?
feeling the next movie is going to start
Yeah.
the second this movie ended.
Or what you could do is you could just have like an anthology type thing where you're following different people from around the world dealing with this, you know, this crisis and stuff. So, but I'd also like to see more of that day one thing, because that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if they're gonna follow the story with this family, I want the same actors to play these people, because like I'm invested now.
Yeah.
And then when they switch them to older characters to portray like the time has passed, kind of take something away from it for me.
They're going to have to change to do a time jump because these kids are older now.
Well, they could. I think
You
they
know-
could age
you
up
know-
the actors almost. They cut their hair a little bit and change them
Yeah,
up.
I think it's
like-
definitely doable.
It's like the Stranger Things thing.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
we got to move this thing forward because these kids that were 12
When they
couple
did
years ago,
season 1,
they're 27 now,
Yeah.
and
they can't be teens
They can't
anymore.
be teenagers.
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
so-
feel that. All right, guys, that's our review for Quiet Place Part 2. What did you think of the movie? Comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. saltintervideo.com. Help us get to that 1,000 subscriber milestone that we're so close. We do appreciate all of our new subscribers. Welcome. We hope you guys enjoy the content. Matt Vader, where can they find you on the socials?
Oh boy, you can find me at Matt Vader 74 on the social stuff at Twitter, YouTube, and but Instagram. Yeah,
There we
that
go.
one. Yeah.
And Jude.
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And I also would like to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed, like ever, and also recently. I know we've all been like kind of posting and pushing for that 1,000 subscriber mark, and we're very close. And just want to say thank you to everyone who. It's just like one of my friends on Facebook who was like, oh, heck yeah, man, I'll subscribe. So thank you guys. It's really helping.
Yeah, thank you guys. Matthew Kadish, where can they find you?
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com takes you to my Amazon page.
And I am Alex the Salty Nerd. You can catch me on Twitter at salty_nerd. And as always, stay salty, my friends.